So today we're going to talk about how to finish a book. And that doesn't sound like much, but it's massive, I think. And there's this whole saying about how writing is finishing. And you're going to ask me who said it, and I'm going to say Neil Gaiman, but actually I have no idea. But it's a good saying and one that I should know more about. Because finishing is hard, and until you've finished, you haven't written anything, really. I mean, nobody ever published 2/3 of a book. Well, F. Scott Fitzgerald did, but he was dead. And so you don't want to go to that length in order to get your book published. So let's do this properly. Let's figure out how you can finish what you've started. Okay, so you've started writing. What now? Well, that's the thing. And I get loads of emails from people saying, like, I've written 15,000 words, I've written 20,000 words, and I'm so excited, but now I'm stuck. And that is so normal. Like, don't panic. Getting stuck is completely normal. And there's loads you can do when you're writing to make sure that you can keep going. And I think that you have to kind of have a destination when you start. This is the best advice I think I could give, or like the truest, is when you start writing a book, it's like getting on a train. You don't know every stop along the way, but you know where you want to get off the train. And if you can do that much, then where you stop along the way kind of just happens. Like, it's fine. That is easier. Because if you don't know where you're going, then every single stop matters. Is this the end? Is this where I should end? Is this where I should get off? Or, what about the next stop? Do I want to go that far? So knowing where your ultimate destination is, that's the best way to start. So once you've started, when you get stuck, stop and think about where you're going. That would be what I would do. So you're on your train and you want to find your end. And I've just told you to find your end. So how do you do that? And this is the unglamorous truth. You need to write an outline. And it can be short, it can be long, it can be 1 page, it can be 30 pages, it can be 50 pages, it can be 8 pages. I normally do 8, actually. But you need to have an outline for your book. You need to go through and envision that entire book. And it doesn't have to be chapter by chapter. People do. Cassandra Clare is notorious in that she outlines the book, and within the book, the chapters, and within the chapters, the sub-chapters, and within the sub-chapters, the paragraphs, and that is insane. I'm just like, that's crazy. I'm sorry, Cassandra. That's insane. Like, I couldn't do that. To me, the very idea makes me want to have a heart attack. I just feel like I'm genuinely panicking thinking about having to do that. I can't. So that's not for everybody. That is for a specific kind of writer, and some of them write amazing books. But also people who plan less write amazing books. I plan less. So, you find where you fit comfortably in that. But you need to plan something if you're getting stuck. That's what that is telling you, is you need a plan. So the way to do that, to write your outline, or your synopsis, as it's sometimes really called, is envision your book sort of generally. This happens, and they end up here. So if they end up here, how are they going to get there? Because I need them to go there for whatever happens next. And so how are they going to do that? And each one of these can be just a line. They get on a bus, and on the bus they encounter a crazy man who threatens them with a knife. So they get off the bus, and that's how they end up in this neighborhood. And once they're in that neighborhood, they get mugged because they're in that neighborhood. And then so they've got no money, but they're in that neighborhood, and now they need to go. They've got to get home now. They just want to get home. So it's like that. It's like, and each one is just a line to remind yourself later, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And then, so when you're stuck, you can refer to it and flip through your outline, and that, if nothing else, triggers something in your head. That planning element in your head fires, and then you can figure out where to go next. And you should do that with your outline all the way to the end. All the way to that end, you have to know. And that, to me, once you've done that, in however many pages or how few pages that is, you've got that's your safety net. That's when you're falling off the high wire of writing and nothing's coming to you. You hit your outline safety net, and you can start going through that again and looking for those ideas of what to do next. Ignore your outline. Yeah, this is what I say next, because you've got your safety net. And now I'm telling you to fall beside it. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you're writing, as you go along, your characters, your plot, they're going to tell you, things are going to come up that you did not expect when you were writing your outline. And suddenly bits of it aren't going to work. Like you're going to start writing it just the way you've written it on your outline, and you're typing away, and suddenly you think, oh, this doesn't work at all. This doesn't work at all. Why would they get off the bus? They shouldn't have got on that bus in the first place. Why didn't they steal a car? If they'd stolen a car, that would be such an exciting scene. And then they'd race along, but you don't always steal the best car, and the car could break down, and that would be thrilling. Or they could crash it into something because they're inept drivers. And that would be much more thrilling than getting on a bus. Who gets on a bus? So then trust that voice in your head saying what you said 3 months ago doesn't work. This is better, and do what's better. So in that way, your outline is there as your safety net, but it's not in stone. You do not have to write that. So, and trusting yourself as you go, trusting inspiration means that suddenly these little bursts of amazing instantaneous inspiration can work their way in, and there's something anarchic about that, and there's beauty in anarchy. And if you suddenly allow in a little anarchy to your organized structure, magic can happen. So write your outline, ignore your outline when it's right, and trust your inspiration, because writing is art, and let the art happen as it wants to happen. When you're going along, writing your plot, your amazing plot, and you're having moments of inspiration and these flashes of genius, which you will have, and it's all happening, what you can lose sight of is character. And character is critical because the voice of the book, the sound of the book, that's coming from your characters. You're not writing as you're writing as them. And so if you're writing along plotting and you're very into plot, and just plotting is really hard, just so you know, like the plot, that things I'm telling you about, like let's get in a car and steal a car and all of that, this hurts your head. Like this is like a giant puzzle with all of these pieces that you're constantly trying to put into place all at once, while also juggling while your hair's on fire. Like this is what plotting is like. So it's really hard in that moment to also remember that the people who matter in all of this are your characters, and thinking as they would think, not as you think. So what would this person do? Not me. I'm not that person. I wrote Night School. Allie continually runs away. I haven't run away from home since I was like 7. The way she lives her life, the people she hung out with, and the decisions she made at Samaria, those were not me. And Harper McLean in The Echo Killing, she has a job I held, but the things she did in book 1, like jumping over a fence to get close to a murder scene, I would not have done that personally. I was too cautious, but she has her reason. So remembering that they wouldn't do what you would do. And I often think when readers write to me and are like, nobody would do this. I'm like, maybe nobody would, but that character would do this. It's knowing that so completely that you have no doubt that the actions that are being taken and the words that are being said are things that character would do and say. And the way to make that happen, and this is the hardest part because in my opinion this is the magic part, is you got to listen until you hear their voice. So when you're writing, you take yourself out of the picture and you try to hear their voice and what they would say. And that you cannot make happen. It's a matter of patience and being able to lose yourself in the story as much as a writer as you would as a reader. And if you can do that, then you let their voices come to you. You can hear their decisions. They make decisions. And as I've said in another video, when I was talking about writing, sometimes they do things you wouldn't want them to do, and they refuse to do the things you want them to do. And you can force them to do the things that you want them to do and to say the things that it would be convenient for them to say. Your readers will hear that and note the inauthenticity of that. They'll know it will just ring wrong. And if you've ever watched a TV series and seen the characters do something that it's just so convenient for the people making it, but you think that character would never do that. Why would they do that? They wouldn't do that. That's what that is. That's what that was. That was a maker, a creator, forcing a character against its will to do something that character would not do, and it rings wrong to you. So don't do that. This is listen to the character all the time, plot, but continually dip back into your character's personality and mind and make sure that they're doing what they should do, what they want to do. Okay, this is a tough one, but this ties into sort of everything else I'm saying. Trust your instincts. So know that you can do this in a way. So have faith in yourself. And when you're writing along and something in you says, X has to happen or Y has to happen, even though it will wildly screw up my plot. It is going to mess everything up. My advice when that happens is try it. Just try it. It's nothing but time you're giving up. Nothing but, you know, a few thousand words. Start writing it and see how inspired you feel. And if, having done this, you love what you've written, and it means you've got to sit down and replot the end of your book, so go back and redo your outline from then forward. So do it. That's, you know, a few hours of your time, a day. Worth it. Worth it if the scene that you've written that your instincts say you should write feels absolutely right. So trust yourself once you get going. Have faith. So you've done all of that. You've plotted, you've ignored your plot, you've listened to your characters, you've trusted your instinct, and you've written 90,000 words. Like, you're done. Like, you're at a point and it's just like, this is it. This is the terminus, everybody off the train of this book. This book is done. How do you know when that moment arrives? Well, when I was writing Night School, I broke all the rules, just so you all know, because I didn't know how to do it yet. And it would be the second book and the third book before I learned how to plot, and I learned how to outline, and it took time. When I was writing Night School, and I got to the first one, and I get to the end, I didn't know it was the end. I just literally, it was like 85,000 words. So much had happened, I was tired of writing it. And I just thought, but it's not done. Like, I'm in the middle of these characters' lives. I'm still in the middle of the story. And that's when I thought, oh, yeah, guess I'm going to write a series. So I'm going to write a second book of this. I mean, I wonder how many I'll write. Like, I had no plan. But the ending felt like the ending. A, I was tired. B, the characters were tired. C, I kind of run out of plot. And it was just at that point, and it felt satisfying. It wasn't done. But bear this in mind. There is a saying that all good books start in the middle and end in the middle. And that feeling that you have when you finish a book that you wish there was more. You just always want more. That's good. That's a good feeling to have. Always leave them wanting more. Like, that's not bad. So the ending is kind of where you've resolved the major plot of that first book. There's enough resolution to be satisfying. You feel satisfied. The characters are satisfied. But there's more story to tell. That's fine. Like, you don't have to, even in standalones, you don't have to tie up everything. This is where fan fiction comes in, if it's a standalone. And your fans can go out and they can speculate about what might have happened next. Or you can come back and write a second book about those same characters. Like, leaving that open is okay. Now, I would say sometimes I have gone too far. I feel like the Secret City, which is the second book in the Secret Fire series, ends very much with so much to be resolved that I've looked back on that sometimes, and I love the ending. I love it. But I love it because I'm a series writer, and, you know, there should be a third book or a fourth book, but neither my co-writer nor I has wanted necessarily to go back to that world, even though we love those characters. So yeah, be careful that there's enough to satisfy. But when there is, you'll know, and then you figure out how to write the end, which is one of the greatest joys the gods bestow upon authors everywhere. The end. Because I've packed a lot into this video, I am aware. I'm very talky. And I've given you way too much advice. So I thought what would be good is if I did a downloadable PDF-y checklist that you can just download, print out, or like have on your phone, so that if you get stuck as you go along, you can just refer to that, and it will be there to sort of give you a little ping of inspiration and advice and support if you get stuck. So if you would like to download that, it's going to be on my website, and there'll be a link somewhere in here. Yes, there'll be a link. We agreed there's a link, and so you'll be able to download it there. The best thing to do always is to join my book club on my website, because there's so much stuff in there that might be useful for this as well. So do join my book club as well. Look for the PDF at the link below, and subscribe to everything, because subscribing to everything is the right thing to do. And so thank you for being here. Good luck with that book.